Welcome to the Real Bible Rob podcast, and I have a special guest today, and that's Dawie De Koker, is that how you say it? And Dawie is the senior pastor at Aurora Community Church in Shoreline, Washington. And I'm connected with Dawie because my daughter is the associate pastor here. And I'm just so delighted that you're here and wanted to kind of have this conversation because I think our mission is the same, as we're looking to provide a place for people who may have been turned off by church. I come at it from a Reformed view. You come from more of the Wesleyan point of view. And I just, that is a part of my history as well, coming from this Reformed background, finding Christ, finding Jesus again in a United Methodist Church, and then and how that informed me. So I kind of want to talk about that commonality here. And Dawie's from South Africa, as you'll find out very shortly here. And that's also very interesting because just seeing what is it like to be in the religious world in the United States versus Europe versus South Africa. So welcome, Dawie. I'm so glad we got to finally do this.
Thank you. It's such an honor to be here. Thanks for asking.
So can we start just a little bit? If you can just give a little brief history about where you've come from and what has brought you here.
Great. So South Africa is mostly a Reformed background country, and my grandfather started preaching at the age of 15. He started following Jesus. He worked on the mines in KwaZulu-Natal, and the mine management asked him, do you want to preach or do you want to work because you're influencing our productivity? So from the age of 16, he was a traveling evangelist, met my grandmother. That's how my mom grew up, and then eventually he led my dad to start following Jesus. So I'm a third-generation Nazarene pastor from South Africa. I decided to follow Jesus and his ways at the age of 8.
Oh.
Yeah. Very clearly, very vivid still today that I made that conscious decision to follow Jesus. By the age of 9, I knew I wanted to work for God full-time. Then came the stormy teenage years, but the 11th of March, 1990, it's written in my Bible, it's not with me today. I was sitting in church. My dad was my pastor for 18 years, of course, listening to him every Sunday. Part of my discipleship is making notes. So I was listening to the sermon and I was making some notes, and I said, God, I have this feeling that I want to work for you, but I want to make some money too. So by that time I was enrolled in a school that's in South Africa, age of 18, you finish what they call matric, your year 12, and then you go on to university. So I was supposed to go into marketing and so. And that Sunday morning I sat in church and I said, Lord, but what do you want? Now, this is the one time, never again, not seeking it, but I audibly heard God say, I want you to follow me into full-time ministry. And I sort of said, what?
That was the call.
That was the call, looked around, and then as I've learned as a follower of Jesus, I asked, Lord, if this was you, would you confirm this?
Yes.
My dad stopped his sermon and he said, I feel I need to say this. Somebody is asking. Jesus is saying, come after me, I want to make you a fisher of men. And I wrote it in my Bible, the date, the time, and that morning I asked him for 5 things, and within the next 6 months everything fell into place, and that's how I became a pastor. And one little other thing is, the churches that I grew up never were more than 40 people.
Okay, yeah.
Honestly, I love Jesus. I didn't like the church. That's another reason why I want to go into another direction. A supermarket or something like that was much more attractive to me than churches. So when I said yes and I clarified with God, why do you want me to become a pastor? Basically, it was to make church what it should really be like. Acts chapter 2. So everywhere I've gone, everything I've done was to bring about healthy Acts chapter 2 churches.
Okay.
And when it's done, I can leave. Yeah.
And so, and your father and your grandfather were both Nazarenes as well? Okay. So
Pastors in the Nazarene.
yeah, pastors. Yeah. So in a very Dutch Reform-dominated culture, what's it like to be what was it like to be a Nazarene in that culture and grow up in that?
Well, Reformed in South Africa is different in the sense that the Dutch Reformed Church was the state church for the apartheid government.
Yes.
So for 40 years, from my perspective, I have to say very unfortunately so,
Yeah.
the church were the God's spokesman for the apartheid philosophy. And that was bad because if, like a church like ours, people would come to our little church in Uitenhage in the Eastern Cape of South Africa for like 5 years because the message was different.
Yeah.
It was alive. It was not a homily, so to speak. It was life-giving, etc. But after 5 years, my dad would have people come say, we will not be able to get promotions in our jobs unless we go back to the Dutch Reformed Church. So that's my experience.
Yeah, yeah.
But then on the other side, after 94, at the dawn of democratization in South Africa, people got lost. So if the church for 40 years said, this is what God wants, and now you say, well, we made a mistake, the Belhar Confession.
Yes, yeah.
So that was tough on Christianity in the country. The beauty of it is for about 10 years, Christianity, church attendance just dropped.
Yeah.
But then, and it feels like that's what's happening in the US currently.
Yes, yeah.
The young people start saying, well, you have your reasons, and I understand it, but we have a desire. So I was part of what the school system in South Africa is different. The parents are sort of in charge of what's happening outside of the curriculum. The school and state governments responsible for inside. So long story short, the parents, the school governing body of one high school said, it's chaos in the school. We need our kids to learn some values. So one pastor and me and one other pastor went to this specific high school. It was chaos. They had a smoking room in the high school.
Sounds like where I grew up.
There were condoms all over the school grounds, drugs. We started Bible instruction, 30 minutes once a week. The teachers sat behind a desk and made jokes and fun when I sort of made my point why you need, to make adjustments to your life. The teacher would go, all right. After 5 years, everything changed. As more and more kids started accepting and making sense out of this. One school, second school, third school. Eventually we had an open door to 4,000 students every week. And it grew to an interdenominational group of pastors going into schools, no dogma, just bringing biblical values back. And, well, that's basically what happened all over South Africa. The youth
want something new.
Exactly.
When you're talking, I'm thinking about, and I talk about this quite a bit, is that the Presbyterian Church and the Episcopal Church in the United States were the churches of money and power and politics. Most U.S. presidents are either a Presbyterian or Episcopalian, right? Now, of course, the United States doesn't have a religion, but if there was one, that's what it was. It was that sort of institutional church. And and as that church dealt with civil rights and things, that the traditionalists didn't like that, and they have escaped. The people who, but also people have escaped otherwise, and because they go, it's a bunch of old people that just want to cling to the past, and that's what we're dealing with today. So it seems like, yes, the youth want something in the United States too. Maybe it's not quite as centered against a particular denomination or style, but there's something going on. So I was going to ask. So I'm really glad you mentioned Belhar. Did the Nazarene Church isn't confessional, right, or in that way, but did the Nazarene Church support the Belhar Confession and what it meant for people?
Of course, but remember, we were never part of that.
Uh-huh.
The Church of the Nazarene, also in South Africa, was never a part, like in apartheid.
Yeah.
So
okay.
we would illegally have people of color come to our church, stay over in our church when they were not supposed to be in our neighborhoods. So despite all of that, just that you understand, the Belhar Confession was all Reformed.
Yes, yeah, entirely, yeah.
The rest of us were not invited.
Yeah.
Mostly because I don't think we were part of it. And the big thing is the Dutch Reformed, the Reformed Church. There's another group that's basically just another word for Reformed in South Africa. They were, so to speak, the big culprits supporting apartheid. The rest of us mostly not. So if we were invited, I guess we would have been there.
Yeah.
But the Dutch Reformed Church, again,
Yes.
Unfortunately, but it was a good thing afterwards,
Yeah.
Made it public that the Church of the Nazarene is a sect. Don't go there, don't support them. They believe in things that's not good for your spiritual health. Yes. After 94, that very same booklet made people go, oh, so if they're not like you, then they must be better. So that helped us then. I often just laugh at how church can get it wrong. And then I go back to the book of Corinthians and I say, thank goodness God knows we
yes, right. We know what it's like to have
messy.
Imperious people trying to impose their will on the church, which is the Corinthians, right? And, yeah. I just feel like it's the most relevant book for us as Americans today. Belhar was affirmed by my denomination in 2016. And
in the U.S.?
In the U.S., yeah.
Wow.
It's in our Book of Confessions.
My goodness.
Yes. And
that's interesting.
So there was a 30-year journey for that to happen, and it wouldn't have happened without many changes in the church and so forth. But it's really a watershed for us because it's kind of like we've crossed the Rubicon. We're not going back. We are going to be a new church now from 2016 on, and because Belhar, and I love it. I mean, I love the language in it. Not knowing the history so much and so forth. And obviously because being Presbyterian, we do have connections with the Reformed Church. So,
but just to be clear about this, even though our denomination was never part of the apartheid system, somebody like me grew up in the apartheid system, in apartheid schools, where every Friday we had to put on army uniforms as part of our school curriculum. Generals from the army would come and speak to thousands of white kids, warning us of what they called the black Afrikaans, the swart gevaar, the black danger, the yellow danger, the Asians and so on.
Yeah,
So, to be honest, at the end of 94, and it was possible for us to have combined rallies as Nazarenes, combined assemblies and so. The white part of the Nazarene family in South Africa did publicly ask forgiveness from our black brothers and sisters. I had a very, what is a good word for this? Just a God-ordained moment shortly before I left South Africa for Germany. The Church of the Nazarene were 100 years old.
Yeah.
And I had the opportunity to, for 15 minutes, on the missional side of our church, address a gathering in a stadium in Nelspruit, South Africa, the northern part of the country. I was asked to speak in a certain direction, and I used 7 minutes to get it over and done with. And then I said, as a white Nazarene that grew up in an apartheid system, I know we've done this before.
Yeah.
And I went on my knees and I shared with them how I battled to understand that even in church, that we would have black people clean, be in the building in and out the week, but Sundays they were not welcome.
Yeah, yes.
Well, it was a legal requirement, but still I struggled with that. And I personally had the opportunity to ask thousands of mostly black people forgiveness for my part of the silence. So I'm not saying we came clean out of this. We were touched by very much shaped by the government.
Yes, yeah.
Very much.
That recognition is so important, and something that Americans have to do too. Something Europeans, Germans, obviously have had to do that in a very formal way as well. But so maybe, so you went to Germany, and I can't remember which region. Was it Frankfurt area or?
I call it the Rhine-Main-Gebiet. It's between the Rhine River and the Main River. But basically, my head office was in Frankfurt.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I served 5 cities. So the church in South Africa, God, like I said, called me to restore. Acts chapter 2. So I took over a church in Rustenburg, South Africa, with 10 people. It was in a terrible shape. Start preaching life in abundance is what God wants for us.
Yes, yeah.
No matter the labels that we want to put on it. And the church grew to 5 campuses.
Wow.
Thousands of people. And still growing, still going strong. And that's what I meant. That my calling is to do that, and then I could leave.
Yeah.
It's not my legacy. It's just that's what church should be.
Yeah.
And part of that deal was that we had a local church-based network of like-minded pastors and churches. That grew into an international thing. So I had Germans and Americans and Europeans come to speak at the conferences. And then at one stage, I started receiving invitations to go to these other places. Moscow in Russia, Frankfurt in Germany, Tampa in Florida. So when I came to Germany, in Frankfurt, I spoke to 30 pastors. And the first 3 days I just taught and shared what church could be like.
Yeah.
And then lunch Wednesday, they took me out into the streets. And God just broke my heart for that country. Less than 1% of Germans ever go to church.
Yeah.
Even though statistically 83% identify as Christians.
Yes, right.
But you need to understand the political background of all that. You have to pay a church
Your church tax. Yes, I did that when I lived there.
Me too.
Yes.
My money went to the Lutheran church.
Yes, definitely.
And that is part of reparations for Napoleon.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
So Napoleon took all the buildings for barracks and stuff, and then later on, the new governments had to give back to churches, and so, and still today they take care of it. But then in return, churches are also like the social department of the
Yeah.
government.
Right.
So that's where the 83% comes from.
Oh, yes.
People give their taxes towards Christian
Yeah, yeah.
churches.
But there's rebellion against the institutional church throughout Europe.
Yeah.
But especially Germany and France.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, long story short, my heart broke for how hard German pastors are working in bringing life and light and truth into the lives of people in Germany, and the fruit is not what we have in South Africa.
Yeah.
So I went back. Our church in South Africa was really in such a good spot. The only thing I could think of, what next, is to plant 5 more churches. 3 of them would be easy to do. 2 others would take a little bit longer. But instead of getting on with it, I started crying. I preached about it. I spoke to my leaders about it.
Yeah.
Planning-wise, I couldn't get out of the starting blocks because Germany just kept laying on my heart. And then the next moment, COVID came.
Yeah.
And that, gave you a lot of time to think and ask questions. And then halfway through it, I received an email inviting, basically written to my church, asking my leadership if they would release me to come help the church in Germany.
Oh, okay.
So they prayed about it, just like when I said yes to God in 1990 in the pew.
Yes.
I gave him 5 things, and I said, if 5 things
happen, then...
And the very first one was my parents needed to release and bless me. They're in their 80s, and suddenly,
oh, I see.
For me to move away from them.
Yeah.
But God spoke to them first.
Oh, okay. And said that you had a calling to go to Germany.
Confirmed it.
And
released me and blessed me with many tears. The same with the church, and so many. All 5 came to fruition, and I moved to Germany and took over a ministry that was based in Frankfurt, but also in 4 other cities. We had 3 coffee shops. That was our worship spaces. We had a refugee home, a drop-in center for prostitutes in the red light district. We had a partnership with World Vision where they gave us a van to go to, like a mobile nursery school, a daycare center.
There's a connection. World Vision is here in the Northwest, so there's a connection there. Yeah. Wow.
So more or less, and then we also, in my tenure in Frankfurt, we planted 1 more campus in Frankfurt North. That's still going strong. And in Darmstadt, we opened up a community center.
Okay.
That is also doing very well still. So
wonderful. Yeah.
Learned a ton. It's a total different culture, different
very much
language and nuances of ministry. Much more postmodern, post-Christian.
Yes, yeah.
But God blessed, and I'm thankful for the experience.
Yeah, very much. I mean, even when you look in history, you go, there was so much thought in Germany, of course, with the liberal theologians in the late 19th century, but then you have the Karl Barths, and you have the, Bonhoeffer, and so forth. So there's a vibrant history there that is ready to tap into if people discover it. And so when you've been serving here for, is it 2 years now? Is it
15 months?
15 months. Okay, wow.
Still learning English, man. What do you mean?
And the United States is just this crazy mix of things, right? And it just so what sort of commonalities do you see here? What's hopeful about what you see? What are the challenges? I don't think we're as dead as Germany, but we're not as maybe not as hopeful. I don't know. How do you see that?
You must remember, I'm in this country only 15 months.
Yes.
I come from Africa. The southern hemisphere is always much more passionate and energetic in how we do things, but then also learns a lot of skepticism in Germany.
Yes.
Ask very hard questions.
It's kind of a national.
And very, sarcastic often. And so,
Yes.
so any comments that I make is not deep knowledge of what the U.S.
But
really
you see
is.
it fresh. I think that's something that is very valuable for us. Is to you see us. I mean, that's when I lived in Germany. I really appreciated the fact that I could see the United States as others do, and I go, oh, that's quite a bit different.
True. Yeah. And then also for me, the Pacific Northwest is very similar to Frankfurt, at least. There's some other. Eastern Germany is much more harsher on every level, also spiritual.
Yes.
But the whole culture around Seattle is, for me personally, very much similar to Frankfurt. So I love it here. I really enjoy it. But here's what I wanted to say there. Everywhere where Christianity or church was institutionalized, it's unhealthy.
Yes.
And it turned into a bit of a mess.
Yeah.
Everywhere in the world.
That's true. Yeah.
Where people get the opportunity. So in 1903, the first printed piece of material the Church of the Nazarene ever put out, and that was before the big merger, which today we celebrate 1908 as the official birth of the Nazarene, because it was a merger of many groups.
Oh, okay.
In 1903, the original Dr. Phineas Bresee printed material said, we're not a church, we're not a mission, we're a church with a mission.
Yeah.
We seek to discard of all superfluous forms and go back to the old Bible truths. We're all sin-sick sinners.
Yeah.
And everybody life's been hard on is welcome to find life. So from its inception, the Church of the Nazarenes was really seeking to just be a movement and not so much institutionalized.
Yes.
That's why Harvard is currently doing a study on the makeup of our church leadership. We're a global family, more than 2 million. I think we're going towards 2.8 million.
And much more international than most denominations in America. Yeah.
But still one body. We're not federalized or in different unions. We're one body. So we have one global gathering every 4 years with delegates from all different districts, which is made up of local churches. And that is the voice of the church. So my experience in South Africa and even in Germany, and to a certain extent even here within the Nazarene world, is we seek to discard of all the superfluous labels and differentiations and all of that, and give people on the street hope, life, purpose. And even in a post-Christian Germany, people have needs. And I believe that, Bible says we are body, soul, and spirit.
Yes.
And even if you have...
Isn't that funny? The Trinity, right? Yes.
Even if you have wealth and health,
Yeah.
there's still a longing, there's a big hole on the inside that wants more, and that's faith. That's Jesus to me, my experience. And even in Germany, but like everywhere else in the world, people are longing for more. The most rich and famous, that's got everything, still commits suicide.
Definitely.
Jesus is life, light, and truth. So looking at the US, it's tough for me, I'm honest.
Well, yeah, maybe I'll frame it just this way. One thing is, Seattle's an interesting place because everybody has this impression that Seattle is faithless, not interested in religion at all. But we had Mars Hill here. We had Young Restless Reform here. And I find that there's a lot of religious activity in Seattle.
Yeah.
But they hold off. They push it away. It's not part of the culture as it is, say, in the American South or in other places. But there's a lot of activity here.
There's a lot of grassroots growth happening, which obviously will not be found in headlines, and so specifically from this area, it will not be in the headlines. But I mean, two churches close by are planting new campuses, adding new services, and if you ask them, it's all young families.
Yes, yeah.
It's young families that have to decide, how do we want to raise our kids?
Yeah.
And just yesterday, I read 2 articles of important people saying, I'm considering going back to church in the new year. So we have a need, and if we as churches communicate all these different labels, which people don't understand. I'm this, I'm that. We're you know, it's gibberish to them. What does this mean?
Yeah, yeah.
So wherever my experience is, wherever you go to the streets with life, with hope, doing exactly what Jesus did, people look at you different. It might take them 2 to 3 years. My experience I told my staff here at Aurora the other day that I think we're getting more and more healthy. Our community is starting to see our value. The comments that they made this year at Santa Claus Lane versus last year. The even notes that we get. It says that
what you hear from the outside.
From the outside.
Yeah.
Is we're starting to speak their language.
Good.
And in South Africa, it took me 3 years. From first point of contact to where people started asking questions. Basically, in Acts chapter 2, chapter 1 and chapter 2, because of the witness of the Spirit-filled Christians, people had to ask questions. Why do you guys do this? The most popular question that I had from people joining our church in South Africa is, what's wrong with you? Why do you care so much about people like me? And that made me smile. Because that's the very... It's a good question to answer. And the answer is because Jesus loved me that way. I did not deserve it. So, and that's what I'm starting to hear from this church.
That's great.
Yeah.
Well, and I was thinking in terms of, so I'm part of a small Presbyterian church, which has a lot of institutional aspects to it as well. But part of the labeling that, because you mentioned that to me, is how Americans are really into labeling about that. Maybe more than anywhere else, right? And
I think so.
And people rebel against that, and I understand that. But I also am trying very hard to appeal to people who have deconstructed, who see church in a very judgmental, hypocritical, all the things that you know, but also in a way that just looks like they say, I'm... And part of this is that reformed, total depravity and all of that. And I'm going, well, you have to separate what you were told, what you've learned as a child, what the popular conception is, from what it is to live a life of being a Christ follower every day in small decisions. So in fact, I even did a little video this morning. I said, it's the small decisions that matter. It's not the big things. It's the small decisions that you make every day about, am I going to treat this person as a human being, or as as dehumanizing? Am I going to be kind or cruel? Am I going to be all of these things?
Yeah.
So how do you help people to see that that's what the message of Christ is? That's the message you're bringing, is to give them that feeling of support rather than judgment. Is that different for being a Nazarene than it is, say, for others? Because in our case, in Presbyterian world, we've been so wrapped up in our theology for so long that it clouds our mission often.
Yeah. And that is what I see in the U.S. in general, honestly, coming from the outside. It's much more academic.
Yeah.
It's much more theology speaking. It's about the institution of the church. The church. Can I say something
Sure.
that I just need to get off my chest? The term separation of church and state, I've never had until I came to the US.
Yes.
But never have I had so many issues with church and state than right here in this building. Churches where I come from, even in Germany, the Nazarenes, at least in Germany, but I had interaction with Pentecostal and Reformed groups in Frankfurt. I wanted to be friends with, I needed some good friends in a harsh culture. It's much more about practical living like Jesus. Mm-hmm. And that is the witness that we have, not our theological stance or which tradition
the
we
theory
come from.
Or right.
Exactly. It feels like even if you look at websites, it's sort of the difference between us and another church, which is speaking to Christians that sort of know all of these differences.
Right.
I am a third generation pastor and I come to the US and I don't even know the Presbyterian background.
Yes.
And so I know we're some way connected with the free. So the guy living across the street from our church, how would he know all these very fancy words? So when you address the needs of the people across the street, just like Jesus did, the church wouldn't allow the clergy to go sit with the prostitutes and the drunkards, but Jesus did.
Yeah.
So should we.
Yes.
And the moment we do that, people start asking, why do you do this? And I mean, I understand fully that people around me right here in Shoreline is immediately, last year with Santa Claus Lane, it's a free event. It cost us personally, not the church, because it's Christians make up the church, and that's how it should be, not the institution.
Yes.
But we humans, followers of Christ, it cost us money. One lady went out to the car and she came back and she said, you've counted me. I don't want to mess up your numbers. But she said it so sarcastically because she knows. Churches want to, it's all about members and growth. And I thought that is just pitiful.
Yeah, and it is a problem, the mass marketing of church and so forth. The other thing, too, I run into very often, and I speak about a lot, is I would say, what's the gospel? Well, to many Americans, I would say most Christians in America, it's penal substitutionary atonement theory. It's this set of beliefs. I go, no, Luke chapter 4. It's sight to the blind. It's, the Lord's favor, the day of the Lord. It's good news. And I go, I wonder if, distilling it down a little bit, that's what you're seeing is that it's this theory, it's this institutional messiness, which is also a wonderful thing about America. We're very big and messy, right? So but it gets in the way of what the gospel really is.
My spine is very important to this body.
Yeah.
But if I put my spine out for everybody, it's not good.
Yeah.
So we need the theology. We need the what do we believe, the articles of faith. We need to have polity and policy.
Mm-hmm.
But if that is what it's all about, then it's super unhealthy.
Mm-hmm.
It serves a purpose, but my human touch, my thumbprint is what is important. And
Yeah,
the fingerprints that we leave in the lives of people.
Mm-hmm.
In Germany, Church in Action, Kirche in Aktion, that I was the lead pastor of, our slogan was heaven on earth.
Mm-hmm.
And the question that we ask constantly is, looking at the red light district, how can we bring heaven into their lives? So, other churches didn't like what we do, would be the least to say, but we gave them condoms. We gave them cream for their hands because they're on drugs and it dries out their skins. So we gave them cream. We rented a space on the 3rd floor right in Niederstrasse, which is in the center of the red light district. And we created a home. There was a large kitchen for them to come and cook their meals, leather couches where they could hang out and just be. We had a room where they could learn alternative skills. We taught, in my tenure, 16 ladies that wanted to get out of it. We taught them how to be baristas, how to clean places, crafts and stuff. And we were on the verge of partnering with other organizations for further skills development. We had a weekly meal together. We discovered that many of them have children. That's hidden in the brothels. So that's one aspect. How can we bring heaven to these ladies? And slowly they started asking the same questions as Acts. Why do you do this? Aren't churches supposed to hate people like us? Well, we don't know about churches, but Jesus don't, and we're Jesus followers. You see what I mean? That's the difference between being church and running a church. And whenever you be Jesus, the hands and feet, the breath, the ruach that God made us with His breath coming out of our mouths, it's life-giving. And people start turning back to the giver of life. It's not about the institution. That's why in Germany we didn't own any property. We used coffee shops as our church buildings, our ministry centers, because the population were clever enough to discover that that building or those buildings is institution, and it's all about themselves often. I'm generalizing now very broadly, but we chose not to have buildings so that people don't put that label on us. We're Jesus followers. We looked at the refugees and say, so how would heaven on earth look for them? Well, they brought in, 9 months for them to reach Frankfurt from starting their journey out of Afghanistan or Iran. Terrible, terrible traumatic experiences. Now they end up in heaven on earth, Germany, but all the forms are in German. So simply, our people make time available to go to the different offices of the government.
Which is
the translators.
Which is hard, as you know. You have to go to the to be registered with the city and all of the things you have to do there, and navigate the bureaucracy. And so one of the things I'm thinking of is if you make heaven on earth for the drug addict and the prostitute and for the down and out, how does the young family that you're also looking for a place here, how do they share in that heaven together? How are they in the same heaven?
That's an excellent question, Rob. So I moved our offices to downtown Frankfurt. They're in the red light district. I had the corner office, not to be that person, but because when I look out any of the windows, I saw our purpose. This is why we're here. I can show you photos of what it looked like. The city of Frankfurt had to clean the streets 3 times a day. That's how nasty it was. I moved us out of the fancy area up where all the tourists go,
Yes.
right down there, because that's messy church. At one staff meeting, we had 25 staff across the 5 cities. We had a gathering there, and I said, today we're going to look out the other window. Because where my office is, and where my board meetings were taking place, we saw the red light district, the pan of the train station, and all the drugs and all of that. If you go to the other side of the building, you look out that window, you look straight into the banking sector.
Yes.
People with suits and leather shoes,
Yes.
ladies smell good.
Yes.
And I asked them, so what does heaven on earth look
Right.
like for these
For
people?
them. Yeah.
Because what we're doing on this side is not addressing any of that. And that's why we started looking at, instead of another coffee shop, another like a drop-in center or so in Darmstadt, we said we're going to open up a ministry center that used to be a gym. We turn it into a large coffee shop look like. Offices, so birthday parties could take place there, ladies' gatherings, kids could just hang out after school. Rob, what do people need? This is Shoreline, this is not Linwood, this is not Edmonds, and it's not downtown Seattle.
Yeah.
We find that schools are closing in this area. We find that there's waiting lists for preschool kids. Before and after care is a nightmare because parents usually work downtown Seattle or up north, and the kids are in the school district.
Okay.
So
Yes.
that's why this church
It's a bedroom community, really, in all ways.
Yeah. So the biggest need is kids.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we have restructured rooms in this building to create space. We have growing numbers of little kids and elementary kids coming to the different community events. And parents say, thank you, because it's free. It gives them an opportunity to get out of their apartments.
Yeah.
The bedrooms that we talk about is not nice houses like in
Yes.
Linwood. These are apartments around us.
Yes. Yeah. Very much in Seattle, right? Yeah. All the new housing. I wouldn't say all, but most of the new housing. You either have the $2 million homes or you have apartments, pretty much here. Yeah.
So how can we bring heaven into the lives of these people?
Yeah.
And it's not because people are projects. It's not because we want to fill the pews. We really care about them as a family.
Yeah.
And yes, faith is what we need in the Trinity to be the best we can ever be. Jesus said, I have come that you can have life. Life in abundance, life in all of its fullness. The Amplified, I think, or one of the translations says, a life that you've never ever even dreamed of. And yes, that is looking forward to eternity. But it is also for
It's right here.
Yeah.
In this community. I love your image of being in one corner looking at the red light district, in the other corner looking at the banking district, because that is a lot of what we have here.
Exactly.
You know,
Aurora's just there.
Yeah, Aurora Avenue's here. I'm in Edmonds. My church sits looking down in the bowl, which has the big views of the Puget Sound, and there's not a house anywhere there that's under $1 million. And also we have Aurora Avenue and what we call the terrace there. And so even just in our own property, you can look and see the two different. And of course, that's everywhere, but yeah, very much here in this. And I also the church is today here now in this place.
Yeah.
So maybe just to close or get toward closing here a little bit. What are some of those ideas about perfecting? About looking at how we go day to day in our daily walk, and so maybe just a little bit of a theology thing here is that perfecting of that, discovering Jesus and seeing Jesus in new ways. How do we do that? And then maybe how do you see, I mean, you've kind of given an idea of where you want to go and where this church sits. How do you bring that message, that big theological idea, into something that can really enrich people and get them planted and, and follow Jesus the way they should?
Let me bridge this with a picture. Claude Monet, the artist of 1869, was a student in the Louvre in Paris. Mm-hmm. In those days, they had all the young upcoming artists, and the way you judged their status was how well they copied the masters of the past.
Yeah.
So, and then public could come in and basically just select their artist of the year, the upcoming one. So Claude Monet did something totally different. It was the Mona Lisa and all the beautiful paintings, copies of the masters of the past. Monet took his easel, is that what you call it? Mm-hmm. And put it right next to a window. Oh. And he looked outside the window and he painted what he saw outside. Mm-hmm. Everybody else copied the masters of the past. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. To me, it's time for the church to look out the window.
Yeah.
How long are we going to copy Calvin and Wesley and Bart and all those wonderful people that lived 100, 200, 300, 400 years ago? Yes. Sing their songs, speak their language. Yeah. Jesus was a radical.
Yeah.
He didn't speak the language of everybody else. He looked out the window. As a matter of fact, he climbed out the window of the church and went to sit with the people.
Yes, yeah.
And he shared with them a better option, a better life. He didn't judge. He just showed them the way to a better life. Mm-hmm. And that is what I want to instigate wherever I go.
Yeah, that's wonderful. I always tell people too, Jesus was an outsider. He was a Galilean, right? Now he was in the Jewish religion, and he honored the temple and all of that. But,
exactly.
But he was a Galilean, and he had poor fishermen who were economically distressed as his disciples, and a wide variety of people. But
so when I go to different churches or pastor leadership meetings, I ask them, what is the biggest thing preventing you looking out the window and eventually getting out of the window?
Yeah.
And quite often it's places like this. It's the building and the heritage of the building. It's the legacy of the people that came before us. Mm-hmm. Literally, it's easier to close down some churches to get some progress done. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Because every pew's got a little copper plaque, the piano, the pulpit. You're not allowed to do anything. Which means we're turning buildings into museums. Well, great stuff. Let's keep the building the museum and let the church move outside to where the people are. So
maybe that's the connection with what you especially saw in Germany, is that the church is the building very much in that world. And buildings are good. Worship spaces are good.
If it's used as a tool.
But it's a tool. Yeah, that's very much true. Yes. Well, I just thank you so much for speaking with me. It was very enlightening. It was everything I hoped. That just that perspective of seeing us meaning American Christians from the outside, but also this idea of that these labels, I love that, is that the labels get in our way constantly. It is huge. Every time I'm on social media a lot, and I put up many hundreds of things, and it's the comments back that are tough are about labels.
Can I close with just one little story? So we realized, well, one story, two instances. In South Africa, I realized there's a farming community that drive up and down to the city every single day. Sundays, they just need some rest. But they need God. They need faith to fulfill their lives, to bring wholeness, shalom to their lives.
Yes.
So I asked God, would you give us the opportunity to minister to those guys, but in a farming language? Long story short, God gave us, it was donated to us, the most beautiful venue out on a farm surrounded by cows and cornfields.
Yeah.
A lovely chapel seating 200 with an area. So Sunday mornings, people could just drive 5 minutes, 7 minutes, come into a space where they could just be themselves. And afterwards have this gathering of farmers with freshly baked bread. And it's still growing. They are thinking of planting a new community in the town next door. In Germany, in Frankfurt, I realized there's these old age homes with people that grew up Christian, but because of their age, mobility, there's no way for them to come to any of our gatherings. Now, they're a mix. There's a big rift between the Lutherans and the Catholics.
Yes, very much. Yeah.
You're either one, there's two churches with two steeples, the one Lutheran and the one Catholic.
And Frankfurt is in that space between Baden-Württemberg and...
Exactly,
And
well, Frankfurt and Mainz, just on the opposite side of the river. Which is heartbreaking to call it Christian and it be like that, but in any case.
Yeah.
So, long story short, there's an Altenheimer, old age home. Maybe one person would ever go to church for whatever reason if they find the ways to do it. So we said, Sunday mornings, every second Sunday, we're going to have a Christian gathering, whoever want to come. And it grew from small to a very good number. And we had to facilitate all the different traditions. Who cares? Doesn't matter. But of course, we're not a church building. We're not a church. So it took lots of teaching about following Jesus versus the church to get to the place where we said, if it's okay with you, you don't have to participate, but we can offer communion. I'm an ordained elder in the Church of God, and I'm going to serve you communion. So some people didn't participate. My experience was out of this world. 2 ladies came to me sobbing, 89 and 91 years old, said the last time we experienced God, the last time we used communion was 60 years ago. And I thought, that's heaven on earth.
Yeah. Isn't that wonderful? Yeah.
So look out the window, see the opportunity, not just as local churches, but also as Christians. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. And I always say, people say lots of things about the Bible that aren't really there, and I give thanks for Dawie in our conversation. I give thanks for you for listening to us. God bless you.